Hey everyone. All right. So we are going to do our book reviews. So here is November's book review. Yes. I know it's December. But listen, I had a tough November. I couldn't speak half the time because I had a chest infection. I'm going to milk that for all it's worth. All right. This month we are doing Leading in Tough Times. And it's a book by John Maxwell. I mean, a book review, my monthly book reviews would not be complete if I didn't do a book review on John Maxwell. As most of you know, I am one of John Maxwell's coaches, but I'm also coached by John Maxwell. And I also love his coaching team. I love the people there. And I love, personally speaking, I think it's just absolutely awesome because, as you know, leadership is not easy. So whenever I can add, I'm always adding one of John's books into my equation. All around me is John's content and is John's stuff, because I really, truly believe that, when we set out as business owners, the one area that we didn't really kind of think about is how do we become great leaders? And as you know, leadership is a journey. It's not really a destination that you're ever going to arrive to. So why do I like this book? I mean, okay, so this book is not going to be for everybody. I do give it, if you have not read a lot of John's books, I've read almost every one of them. So what this book is it's a very short read. It's about 144 pages. It's very concise and not a lot of filler, which I really, truly appreciate. But if you're like me and you've read a lot of John's books, this book is actually, self-admittedly, it's not a surprise. It's a combination of all the best pieces of advice from all his previous books. And I kind of really like it. It reminds me a lot of what Tim Ferriss did with that giant conglomerate book. He took all the best stuff from all his podcasts and put it into a giant book. This is very similar to that. It's kind of like he took every kind of book that he's written, and he's written so many of them. And what he did is he put it into a lot of really good tips and points that have been regurgitated from his past stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I think that that's great. For those of you who've read a lot of his books, I don't think you'll find this book very good. For me, because I liked the refresher, and I'm kind of the 144 pages, the shorter book and everything really worked well for me. It covers a lot of cool concepts about developing your team and pushing them through in changing times. And I think for the year that we're headed into, maybe not the year that we just went from, but the year that we're headed into, I think this is a really awesome book that sort of says, hey, listen, if you're in a changing market, or if your team's in a changing time, or if you're uncharted territories and waters, this book will be a really good book for you as a leader, for a lot of great reasons. It covers the challenges of the team, how to pivot your team, how to navigate through them, different methods. I loved it for that purpose. So I was able to give this out to a bunch of leaders that I work with that have never really read John's books before, and they loved it. They were like, this was really good content. They're like, wow, it blew my mind away. But for those of us who've read a lot of John's content, it was just really oh, okay, well, I've heard that. So it depends on how well you receive repetitive information. And for me, I thought it was great. I thought it was really excellent, awesome. I liked it. I give it a really big thumbs up. I think what you have to remember is that it's about growing your team. So if you're really looking for some great advice to charter your team through different territories or navigate them through different things, this is an excellent leadership book that'll just give you a lot of really good points and tips and direction to navigate through that. I think you'll put it up. I would rank it about a 4 out of 5. That's where I'm putting this book, and hopefully you grab it, enjoy it. And for those of you who have never read any of his books, you'll probably rank it a 5 out of 5. But for those of you who have, you'll probably put it a little bit about 4 out of 5. And but will you get something awesome out of it? Absolutely. There's not a lot of leadership books out there that I go to. Having met John and known John, he's the real deal. So, when I read his books, I know that they're loaded with authenticity and the materials work. And I don't know if any of you, excuse me, I don't know if any of you had a chance during COVID to see what he did. But what he did through COVID, there was very few leaders that stood up and navigated the territories in an effective way. I thought he was one of the best leaders in the entire world that stood up and said, okay, you know what? Here's what we're going through, and I know how to navigate us through it. So I give it a thumbs up. I think this is a must read. It's an easy read. So pick it up, read it, get a lot of content in your head. And if you're struggling with leadership in a time with your team right now, this is going to help you a lot. Okay, enjoy.